being an entrepreneur sounds cool, but the reality of building a business is very, very difficult. Every level that you hit, there's a lot of things that suck that you just won't want to do. What you're capable of is on the other side. I don't feel like it.
And if you're committed to what it is that you're trying to do, nothing is going to stop you from getting there.
Welcome back to another episode of Real Business Owners with myself, Trevor Cowley. Guys, RBO Live, September 20th. It's near Salt Lake City, Utah. If it's something that you're interested in attending, just send me a DM and I'll make sure to hook you up and reserve a spot for you. So other than that, if you're interested in leveling up, go to joinrbo.com. I'd love to chat about that as well. Today's episode, guys, is regarding perspective, is regarding, average thinking and average minds and average results. And like, if we really look around, like what's creating the result that is average, like average business results or average physique or, an average perspective. The fact is the information that you put yourself around, the people that you surround yourself with has the ability to determine or adjust your perspective. If you're out there, we've already all heard the saying, and I'm not going to beat a dead horse because you guys are familiar with, you're the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. The fact is, if you don't have other individuals to surround yourself with that's operating at a high level, you have zero choice but to become the individual that's operating at a high level. I recorded a podcast, I think a year or two ago, in regards to setting the standard, creating a temperature that just burns at a whole different degree versus those that you surround yourself with. If you look around your environment and you can't identify the individual that is operating at a high standard, that means by default that you have to become that individual. As I was driving yesterday and I was sitting there thinking about the importance of perspective, what you think is good will determine how good your life really is. The fact is I've talked about this before in regards to the whole comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is needed. We have to compare ourselves to other human beings that are operating at a completely different level. We have to not just scratch our heads and admire, but we have to actually analyze and see what they're doing, how they live their life, how they structure everything that they do, that they're doing at a high level, have some sort of structure built around it. And it's like, I see people operating at a high level for these sprints, so to speak, short periods of time. And then it becomes a little too much. You get to the point where you're motivated and you decide to make a change and you're relying on the motivation, and the motivation's all good and dandy, but when the motivation isn't there, people just fall back. That's where you start relying on your discipline. But if you haven't been disciplined long enough, your discipline muscle isn't created yet. So you've got to go through the friction. You've got to go through difficult things, a lot of discomfort, pain or suffering in order to increase the discipline level that you have, in order to enhance the grit that you have, in order to put yourself in a situation where it's even possible for a greater outcome. I'm so sick of people labeling certain things. Oh man, that's crazy. If you label something as crazy when you see somebody else doing something, what that's doing is allowing you to label it as that and give yourself an out of not pursuing something that maybe other people would call crazy. So what is good? Is $100,000 a year income good? Is it $200,000 a year? Is it $500,000 a year? Your perspective on what good is will determine how your life ends up. So if you think $100,000 a year is good and you get close to it and you're making 70 grand, 80 grand, you're probably going to cool off just a little bit because you feel like it's so close. My goal's just right there. And then you kind of start pulling back and you get a sense of comfort. This is why you should compare yourself to other people operating in an extremely high level. And I'm not saying I'm operating at an extremely high level. Am I doing some things that are considered high level in the majority of people's eyes? Yes. But I'm not really wanting to compare myself to the majority. I want to compare myself to the minority. Am I operating at a high level in the minority? That's the question that I ask myself. And if the answer is no, that means for me that there's more work that needs to be done. The reason why I believe I should compare myself to other people that are in a minority group that are operating at a high level, because I end up getting to the point where I say, well, if they can do it, so can I. I identify where they're at. I identify exactly what their habits look like. And it doesn't matter whether it's in business. There's an abundance of information that's available out there to people. People will tell you how they operate their life and how they run their schedule. Dan Martell's very transparent about it. I mean, most of you guys listening know Dan Martell, and if you don't, you should. You should check out that book, Buy Back Your Time. It's an incredible book. But even on his Instagram stories, he shows he's up at 3:30 in the morning. A lot of highly successful people get up super early in the morning. Pace Morby's been super successful in the real estate game. He's also notorious for being up at 3:30 in the morning. You know, I get up anywhere from 4:30 to 5:30 every single morning. Why do high-level people like getting up early in the morning? Because they can get more done within that first 3, 4, 5-hour window than the majority of people get done throughout their entire day. Why? Because the day hasn't woke up yet. The problems don't exist. They're still asleep. When people wake up, that's when the problems wake up. And so how do you enhance your life if you have the same amount of hours that everybody else has, but yet you're waking up at the exact same time that everybody else is waking up? It's just not going to happen. If everybody else exercises 3 to 5 days a week, you should be exercising every single day. For me, I saw that the minority of people, yes, they move their body every single day. So I wanted to do it twice a day, and I did it twice a day for 3 years straight. Why? How did that benefit me? Did I benefit financially from it? No. I changed my perspective. I wanted to make what was uncommon common to me. The crazy my ordinary. What most people would shake their head at be my normal. And so if you want something that's out of the ordinary, that means by default that your life has to look like it's out of the ordinary. So you have to do the things that nobody else is willing to do. You have to do the things that will force you to suffer a little bit, force you to go through discomfort. Whether you're talking about investing money, whether you're talking about moving your body, whether you're talking about building your business, the reason why you're not advancing in your business is because there's a level of discomfort that you're unwilling to go through. There's a conversation that you're not willing to have. There's money that you're not willing to invest. There's a risk that you're not willing to take. The reason why you're unhealthy, because there's a level of discomfort that you're not willing to go through. Everything revolves around discomfort. Progress revolves around discomfort. Life itself revolves around discomfort. The fact is life will bring you challenges, life will bring you stress, and life will bring you struggle. I would rather struggle in the sake of progress, so when life brings me a problem, to me is just another issue, and my mind immediately goes to, okay, how do I solve it? What should I be doing? What's the perspective that I need to have around this situation? Your life will have problems. So your job is to have a perspective that says, okay, what's the silver lining? How am I going to benefit from this? And the longer that you're in business, the more that you're going to see this. You're going to say, okay, here's a problem. Okay, why is this a good thing? Because I've been dealt with so many problems over the course of 15 years that it's like every single thing that appeared to be an issue or a problem to me ended up working out in my favor. Why did it work out in my favor? Because I had a perspective that this happened for a reason and it's working out in my favor. Even if I don't understand why what's happening is happening, I just need to trust that what's happening is happening for my benefit. And if you can't have that perspective, then life is going to be challenging and you're going to be dealt with a lot of struggle, a lot of suffering, and a lot of discomfort, and you're not going to make any progress on the back of that suffering or on the back of that discomfort. So how do you change your perspective? By controlling what your day looks like, by forcing yourself to grow. And so how do we grow? We grow by doing things that are abnormal to us. So if you're not a reader, you start reading. If you don't go to the gym, you start going to the gym. If you don't invest your money, you start investing your money. If you don't have difficult conversations with people, you start tackling having difficult conversations with people. If you don't feel like a leader, you have to act like a leader prior to even feeling like it. And then over a period of time, you start feeling like a leader because you've acted it in a certain manner. So you have to act in a manner in which is abnormal to you long enough in order for it to become normal. I'm challenging you guys right now on this podcast. I'm telling you right now that you're probably not doing enough. You're doing everything that you need to do in order to maintain. Are you doing everything that you need to do to grow yourself as an individual, to grow your business, to grow your relationships, to grow your money? Today probably looks very similar as yesterday. I read something just yesterday that 5% of the decisions that we make are with our conscious mind. 95% of what we do is all subconscious. We run on subconscious programming. So you could change who you are if you could change your subconscious. How do you change your subconscious? Through repetitions, doing something in high repetition over an extended period of time for it to sink back into your subconscious, for your subconscious to say, this is who we are and this is how we operate. I get up every single day and I run a half marathon without question. It doesn't matter whether I'm sick. It doesn't matter whether I'm tired. It doesn't matter whether I'm sore. Why? Because I've done that so long that now I have so many repetitions that subconsciously, this is just who I am and this is just what I do and this is how I start my day every single day. Are there tough days? Do my mind turn on? Yes, it does turn on me, but the fact is there's no question on whether I'm going to do it or not. This is why change happens when most people are at a place of extreme discomfort, because the change that they're supposed to be making is going to require a level of discomfort, and we don't usually change unless the discomfort that we're currently experiencing is a lesser discomfort than the discomfort that we have to go through in order to make a change. So why does every testimony or success story start with usually, man, I was broken, I was at a bad place, I lost my business, and I hit a rough patch, and then I rebuilt because they were at such a low that they realized, I can't live like this anymore, and living with the discomfort that allows me to at least make progress is a lesser evil than the evil that I'm dealing with living an average life, living mediocre, living with the perspective that just doesn't serve me anymore. So I'm trying to challenge your perspective. Your perspective is everything. If you think running a mile is far and that's good, you're probably only ever going to run a mile or a half a mile, because that is what you equate to something that is considered in your perspective as good. If somebody asked me to go run 3 miles, I wouldn't even lace my fucking shoes to go get 3 miles because it's so far beneath me based upon my perspective. What is my perspective based on? The work that I've done. Making $100,000 a year is not a lot of money to me. Why? Because I have a perspective of where I've made millions of dollars just in a year. So I know what's possible. The only way that I'm able to experience this level of possible is through the repetitions that I put in, through masterminds that I've joined in order to challenge my perspective, in order to surround myself with high-level people. That right there is the game. That changes absolutely everything. So if you don't have high-level people, 1, you have to become that person. 2, you need to get involved in masterminds. I don't give a shit whether it's RBO or not. I really don't. I'm fine regardless. But the question is will you be fine? That's the question. And unfortunately, the majority of people, the answer is no. They're not going to be fine. Nothing's going to change because they're not changing. So if it's difficult for you to invest money to hire a coach or to join a mastermind or to surround yourself with different thinkers, people that are at a different level than you, that's exactly why you should do it, because you're the person that got you where you're at right now. And you're disgusted with the results that you have and you want greater. So if you want greater, that means that you have to make a decision that's greater than the current version of yourself, which would require you to challenge your current perspective and do something different than what you would normally do, which would ultimately make you squirm a little bit. Most people won't pull the trigger when they feel that, when they're starting to squirm and it's starting to get uncomfortable. It's like when you're already struggling in business, it's like, man, cutting the check for marketing, that's going to make you squirm a little bit. But you know you need to do it because the path that you're on is very clear. It's very obvious that what you're doing is not going to get you where you want to be. So you have to throw yourself a curveball, and you have to go deeper than you ever have in terms of the discomfort that you're willing to endure in order to get to the results that you want. You're not deserving of any level of success that you're currently not experiencing. Why? Because somebody else went through something that you haven't been willing to go through yet. They're deserving of it and you're not. The results that you have right now, you need to own those results. And if you don't like those results, then change something. Do something different. Something completely outside of the norm. Something that challenges your perspective. Something that's going to be uncomfortable for you. Something that is going to throw you a curveball that's like, man, this changes everything in terms of how I have to live my life. I want to live my life in a manner in which crazy is my ordinary. So my daily tasks, my daily lifestyle has to be something that other people scratch their head at and wonder, how the fuck does he even do that? And when I see people tell me, oh man, that's crazy, that only tells me that I'm onto something, that I'm doing something right. It doesn't tell me that, like, man, I really need to cool down. I really need to, take a step back. I really need to take a day off or, have a rest day or whatever it may be. That's just not how I want to live my life. Guys, we have one fucking life. And what are you doing with it? Are you 1 foot in, 1 foot out, kind of playing the game? Or are you really, really playing the game? Removing distractions, not hanging out with the people that you're hanging out with that you already know aren't going anywhere. You're not going to get the fucking results that you want in 2 weeks. You're not going to lose the body fat in 2 weeks. You're not going to be a millionaire in 2 weeks. This is a long game. To me, my perspective is 2 years is absolutely nothing. 3 years is absolutely nothing. That's my perspective. That's why I'm going to break the world record. That's why I was able to build businesses that did 7, 8 figures and that was able to pay me 7 figures because I wasn't playing the normal game. Everything was a 3 to 5 year game. Man, if we keep operating like this in 3 to 5 years, we're really going to love the result. I don't judge the result that I currently experience because I know I'm doing the work right now for the result to be completely different in 3 to 5 years. So don't judge the result that you're currently experiencing when you turn up the dial and you start operating differently, because now you're expending more energy, spending more money, doing more than you ever have, having to live with the same result that you've been experiencing. And that's a frustrating process. To go through the process of giving more, expending more energy, but yet living with the exact same outcome. If you're judging it within 6 months, you're going to fail. If you're judging it within 12 months, you're going to fail. Now, are there goals that you should set with inside those timeframes? Absolutely, there's goals that you should set with inside those timeframes to make sure that you're on track. So it's baby steps towards the big goal. But I project so far out and say, what do I want? I want to be a world record holder. I wanted to be a millionaire. I wanted to have a top podcast. I wanted to have a 6-pack. I want to have a good relationship with my children and my wife. And to be blunt with you, that's something that I struggle with because I have a very difficult time, being where my feet are. I'm always on the go. I'm always moving. I'm always trying to accomplish. And so if I'm projecting, where do I want to be in 3 to 5 years? I'm always living in the future and projecting this is where I want to be. So this is what I need to be doing right now. I struggle with being present. My new level is, now that I've been able to do all the things that I've done, what's the thing that has the ability to change my perspective? What's the new version of me that's Trevor 2.0 now? And for me, it's like, okay, it's being aggressive with the goals that I have and what my lifestyle looks like, but also being very present. I have to learn how to be present. I have to learn how to put my phone down. I have to learn to get out of my mind and just be where I'm at. When I'm fishing with my son, I need to be fishing with my son. And I feel like I've been getting better about it, but I'm not perfect. There's nobody out here that's perfect. I'm not sitting here preaching from a pedestal saying, hey, Trevor's got it all figured out. But there are some things that I've done very, very well. And I'm always analyzing some things that I could be doing different just to get an inch further, a yard further, just a little bit more progress, right? When a football player gets hit, they keep moving their feet so that they can get that extra half yard or that extra yard or that extra 2 yards. Are you continuing to move your feet, or are you just in the game, have the ball, and just because you're in the game that you're happy about it and that you're celebrating it? Get yardage out of what it is that you're doing. And the question is what's required in order for that to happen? And obviously, there's a level of discomfort that's going to be required in order for that extra yardage. And so focus on the things that you have the ability to control, that have the ability to change your perspective, so that you know that there's always growth happening, so that the version of you that you meet in a year or 2 years or 5 years has more of the answers that you're currently seeking right now, that you don't have the answers to, but they might, based upon the work that you're willing to put in over that time frame. And so hopefully you guys enjoyed today's podcast. Per usual, please rate and review the show. Other than that, guys, keep kicking ass, and we'll see you next week.